David Muir.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're coming on the air because of the major reaction here in the U.S. and around the world to President Trump's sweeping tariffs. The close of trading on Wall Street just moments ago, the stock market suffering major losses on the heels of the president's tariffs. Take a look. The Dow losing, as you can see right there, losing 1,679 points today. Of course, this is the closing of the Dow, and it still actually will fluctuate just a tiny bit here. But right now, the Dow at 40,545, losing almost 4% today alone. The NASDAQ and S&P 500 also plunging, seeing drops that they have not seen in years in those indices. Major markets around the world also reeling. Millions of Americans watching their 401ks, their retirements shrink today, and all of this direct response to the president's tariffs, a 10% tariff on nearly all foreign imports across the board. The tariffs even steeper on Europe, China, Japan, South Korea, among many other nations as well. And the president's new 25% tariff on all foreign cars brought into the U.S., that took effect overnight at midnight. The tariffs already making an impact beyond the markets. America's third largest automaker tonight, Stellantis, saying it will temporarily lay off 900 workers in the U.S. while pausing some of its production in Canada and Mexico. Canada's new prime minister today vowing to retaliate with counter tariffs, quote, with purpose and with force. Other nations preparing to retaliate as well. President Trump defending his tariffs late today, saying, quote, I think it's going very well. He said it was like an operation, like when a patient gets operated on and it's a big thing. And he said, I said, this is exactly the way it is. Economists, American consumers will bear the brunt of higher prices. That's what they say, because companies and businesses pay the tariffs to bring in these cars, the electronics, produce, and other items into this country. And then that cost is often, of course, passed on to the American consumer. So that's the immediate impact of these tariffs. I want to get right back to Rebecca Jarvis, our chief business and economics correspondent. You and I were on the air about this time yesterday when the president announced these tariffs. We saw the futures in the markets show steep declines, and that's what we witnessed here today.
Yeah, they held on to them, David, and then continued to sell off, ending at the worst levels of the session. And to put this into context, what we saw in the markets today was the worst day for stocks since the early days of the pandemic in 2020. I spoke to one trader on Wall Street today who called it the fog of war. And what we saw were multiple companies, Apple, Nike, Gap. These are companies that have thousands of employees here in the United States, but they also have manufacturing. They also rely on supply chains overseas. Those are companies that sold off today.
And this formula to come up with the reciprocal tariffs. We heard the president say 24 hours ago, you do it to us, we'll do it to you. But there are a lot of questions from economists across the board, not only here in the U.S., but around the world, asking what was behind this formula? Is this truly reciprocal?
Right. There are questions about how we came to those numbers, how the administration came to those numbers. And there are also questions about how foreign countries are going to respond to them. We've already heard from a number who are threatening retaliation. And that's another thing the market is taking into consideration here, because retaliation can take many forms. It can be tariffs, but it can also deny our exporters, farmers, from sending their goods overseas. It can be currency manipulation. There are a lot of different ways countries, including China, a very important trading partner for the United States, will respond.
All right, Rebecca Jarvis with us. We also want to go to our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. And if we can get these numbers back up on the screen, the Dow, again, closing just moments ago, down substantially today. And we'll get those numbers back up on the screen for you. And Mary, the president sounded like he's going to stand firm on this. He had said in the weeks leading up to this that there would be pain that Americans would understand. The question is, how long does the pain last? And as we have reported here, he argues it's to bring jobs and manufacturing back to the U.S. And we've heard economists again across the board say, but that actually takes years to get plants back up and running again. So what happens in the interim here?
That is the big question, and the president today is insisting this is all going according to plan. As you noted, he is likening these tariffs to an operation, saying the patient lived and is healing. So he seems to be acknowledging there is a period of disruption here. The question, of course, as you note, is how long is that disruption going to last? The president today also touting trillions of dollars of investment in the U.S. That takes time. When pressed on how long Americans need to be braced for skyrocketing prices, the White House continues to tell Americans to trust the president, give him time to fix this, David.
Mary Bruce at the White House. Mary, thank you again. The worst day in years for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And you can see the Dow right there on your screen, losing almost 4% today alone, 1,679 points, closing at 40,545. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com. For many of you, it's your local news standing by. I'll see you for World News Tonight. Good day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
I would recommend this toothpaste to everybody. It's really an amazing product.
Stay ahead of your child's moderate to severe eczema with Dupixent as they welcome the feeling of touch with clear skin and less itch. The #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists helps heal their skin from within. Severe allergic reactions can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain, vision changes, or blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma or other medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your child's doctor about Dupixent.
60% of women experience leaks with bladder protection pads. Try Always Discreet. It locks leaks in seconds to keep you drier and bunches 25% less often than Poise. Try Always Discreet.